All right, we're back with Brewer Media Group, and today we have a really special interview because we are dab smack in the middle of the National Multicultural Donor Awareness Month, and today we have three special guests. So I've got Dawn Benjamin here. We also have Lydia Murphy and Adam. All right, introduce yourselves, Miss.
Sure. Well, I'm Dawn Benjamin, and I work with Tennessee Donor Services and Donate Life Tennessee in the area of community outreach.
Okay. Miss Lydia?
All right, I'm Lydia Murphy, and I am a donor parent, and I am a Tennessee Donor Ambassador.
Okay.
And I'm Adam Cowan. Adam, to everybody.
All right.
I'm a kidney recipient, 3 years.
Okay, we got both ends of the spectrum here. I love it. And then somebody who actually works with getting the word out. And I'm sure you are working on this year round instead of just 1 month a year, because it is important, not just in the month of August, of course.
Right. We work 12 months a year. 12 months a year to get the word out and how important it is to register to be an organ and tissue donor. And a lot of our success is due to our ambassadors, those volunteers who actually have a connection, like Lydia and Adam.
I know that's right, because I've seen plenty of videos, especially on social media and stuff, and it definitely makes you think twice, like checking that box when you go get that driver's license. It is beautiful. So one quick question, Dawn, before we get into it. Why is this specific month so important, and why is this conversation so critical right now, especially for the Black community?
Right. Well, it's critical for all communities, but in August, we do want to shine a light on the need for transplants, both the need for transplants and for people to be organ donors in our multicultural communities, specifically with the Black community. What we see nationwide with the national waiting list, and this is where anyone who needs a life-saving transplant must be listed, about 60% of the list are people from communities of color. And then when we break it down and we look at Tennessee, 45% of the list of patients are Black, most of them needing a kidney.
Wow. Well, speaking of transplants and organ donation, Adam, tell us a little bit about what happened to you and how that led to the need for transplant. Because like you said, you are on the other end of Lydia's journey.
To what Dawn said, we make up 45% of the list of people in need, yet we only make up 9% of the registered donors.
Okay.
Now, I came to organ transplant differently from a lot of people. Mine was due to a mishap with the biopsy, which sent me into kidney failure. Now, that was about 9 years I spent on dialysis. And it doesn't matter how I got there, the fact that I wasn't there and that I had to deal with it once I got on it. And I've had my transplant now for 3 years. And life post-transplant, as opposed to life on dialysis, is much different. You know, dialysis keeps you tied down 3 days a week, 3-hour minimum per session. So that cut out travel, that cut out fun. It affected what I could eat, what I couldn't eat, what I could drink, what I couldn't drink. And life with the transplant has been freedom. And that's my takeaway, freedom.
That's amazing. We had somebody here I know that worked with us that was on dialysis the last few years he worked here, and everything he did was circled around going to dialysis, making sure he got up early in the morning. His wife even, it was a huge part of his life. So I can understand that weight being lifted.
Like going to a job. I mean, you had to be there.
Can you describe those emotions you went through when you realized like you needed a kidney to save your life? Like I can't imagine getting that news and how to process that.
That's an interesting question. It's also a loaded question. After the situation occurred and I found myself in need of dialysis, I was angry. Bottom line, I was mad about it. You know, it was no fault of my own. I was pissed off. The fortunate thing for me is I knew other people who at the time were either on dialysis or had had transplants. My pastor, he's not with us anymore, but he was a transplant recipient. His wife was on dialysis. His children were recipients. And I remember vividly deciding one day I could be angry and fight this, or I could accept it and be free and move forward. And then I thought about my pastor's wife, and I'm like, if she, at her age, can deal with dialysis, then I can deal with dialysis. So I had to change my attitude.
Which is
Once I changed my attitude, I didn't like my 3 days a week
Yeah.
in the clinic, But you look around the room, and when you're on dialysis, I don't know if you all have ever seen a situation or not, but you got a bunch of people in this big old open space, and you're like maybe 3 feet between you, so you get to know your neighbors, left side of you, right side of you. And I could see some people who were angry, who were upset. They take it out on the staff, and I'm thinking, that ain't smart, because they could hurt you in this chair. They wouldn't do about
They
it.
wouldn't, I'm sure.
So after I got over my emotions about it and realized that I could accept this and be alive, or I could fight this and hurt myself more, I ended up being like the mediator in the clinic. I was the unofficial mayor of my clinic. But yeah, at first I was pissed. I was pissed. But then I changed my attitude about it, and I accepted it. Once I got accepted, dialysis is hard on the body. I have pictures of me seeing people who, some of you all know me, saw the changes I went through physically, skin, hair, all of it, weight, all of it. But once I made the decision to live, everything changed.
It sounds like it changed for everybody at the dialysis too. I mean, I know it's so hard to change your mental state on things, especially when you get into a place like that. And I can see it being easy to be upset, and it's life changing to have somebody like you, honestly, when you're in situations like that, to uplift that mood, uplift that spirit. That's incredible of you, honestly.
I tried.
Well, tell us a little bit about receiving the transplant, and how are you doing now? I know you said you're feeling a lot better. It's different.
My word is groovy, baby. I feel groovy. I look groovy. All of that. My transplant journey was funny because I just started in February of 2020 to actively pursue transplant. And I went to a couple of visits, Emory in Atlanta, UAB in Birmingham, and that was February. March of 2020, the world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I could have gone into another little episode, but I said, you know what? Let me use this time. So that year and a half when the world shut down, I got better, stronger, numbers got in check, health got better. So when they did reopen up the world, and I started this process again, took them forever to call me, but I'm like, we gonna start looking elsewhere. So I added some states to my journey. World reopened in 2022. I got transplanted May 2023.
Wow.
Quickly for me, yeah.
Nice. That's so incredible. And
That's exceptional, because the average wait time for a kidney is 3 to 5 years.
I was gonna say, like, it seems some people they've spent forever waiting for a lot of different transplants. So that's
And
amazing.
With Adam's story too, he talks about taking that time to get healthier.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds kind of funny, but you want to be at your optimum health when you get listed.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
That you could be turned down. There are people who are not healthy enough to actually get on the transplant waiting list because they wouldn't survive the surgery or something.
Yeah, I mean,
complications.
I've heard of, there's some bad habits out there. People have a hard time kicking, and I have heard that, like, it'll stop you from getting it. So that is incredible. And
Well, let me just add one thing, though. People, if you know someone who is on dialysis, who thinks that transplant is not an option, it is an option.
yeah,
I mean, if you look at the dollars and cents of all of this, it's cheaper for you to get transplanted than for the insurance to continue to pay for you to be on dialysis.
that makes,
And if you think you can afford a transplant, you really can't. You're affording dialysis.
So with you saying that, where can people go to, like, kind of get more information on that and kind of see if they do qualify and maybe get some help on how to speak to their insurance companies, or is there anything like that?
They are in the clinic, or if they're doing home dialysis, they have a caseworker or a social worker.
So just ask.
Ask.
It's
yes.
okay.
Talk to your nephrologist. Say, hey, I want to look at transplant. Worst they can do is tell you no.
Yeah.
With me, there were a couple of things that each clinic pretty much did repeat tests on me, because each clinic's going to want their own set of tests. Not that they don't trust everybody, but they want their own stuff. One hospital asked me to do a certain procedure. I did it. Came back, 2022, can you redo this? I did it. Didn't cost me anything. I mean,
Yeah.
they were already paying for me to be on dialysis. Insurance was paying for me to be on dialysis. So
Yeah.
it's much cheaper.
It makes sense.
Transplant. So you have to ask. You have to say, look, I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
Get me off this machine.
I think sometimes people are
Afraid.
scared or nervous or don't feel like they have the right to ask a doctor. You know, a lot of, there's that old, they went to school for 10 years. They know what they're doing better than you do. But
You have to
sometimes you know your
advocate for
body.
yourself. You have to
Yeah.
advocate for you. Period.
Yeah, and that's always, so don't forget, ask if you need or you just want to know. It's okay to ask. There's never stupid questions, especially when it comes to your own health. So let's talk to you a little bit, Lydia. I hear you have an incredible story as well, and it has to do with your son. Can you tell us a little bit about your son and why you decided to let him be an organ donor? I know that's a choice.
For sure. So Tyree, my son, amazing kid, very funny. That's what I miss the most about him, very comedic. He did leave me with two beautiful granddaughters, though. And one looks like him when he was younger, and one looks like him when he was older. So the reason why I made Tyree an organ donor is because I was approached by Jonathan. He was on a ventilator, and he asked me if I wanted to make him an organ donor. And I said yes immediately, because in 2007, I had to have a blood transfusion. And so for me, if someone had not donated their blood, I wouldn't have been able to have that transfusion. And so it was an easy yes for me. It was just very simple.
Yeah, I think sometimes people feel like they want to put their whole self back into the earth, and I don't, and I think you still are, just your kidney isn't gonna, that's not your whole self. So I think,
Right.
I think that's beautiful, and that's such a beautiful decision that you chose. So, how has knowing that your son saved others' lives affected your daily life and healing and all of that?
Oh man, that's what keeps me going, because he saved, I think it was 6 lives. So it was a man at the time in 2017. It was a 58-year-old ex-professional football player that actually has his heart. And so for me, every person that has his organ is still a piece of Tyree. So though he is not here, he's still here.
Yeah.
And so we had one young lady, she was 29 at the time, her name is Joy, and she received his right kidney. And we got to meet her in 2023.
That's beautiful.
And so to be able to meet her, it just brings me joy, because, yeah, that's her name, and I said that. But it brings me joy because I still get to see that he's living. So he was a hero. He was a gift. And so when I talk to people and they're like, I'm going to take my organs with me, what are you going to do with them? Why not be a gift? Why not be a hero? And this is another thing that I tell them. If Jesus had not made a sacrifice for us, we wouldn't have been able to repent. So be a sacrificial lamb. Just look at it that way. You're not going to do anything with those organs, but you're able to save someone's life. And that's most important. And so that's what I live on, and that's why I'm a part of Tennessee Donor Services, because I want to educate people about the importance of being an organ donor, how you can save a life, and the joy you will get. And so you won't focus so much on their death. You're focused on the fact of them being a hero and saving a life. And that's what keeps me going. I'm not sad about my son's death at all, because he was born to die, and that's what I tell people. That was his purpose.
He's got a big legacy too.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I mean, there's going to be children coming out of those people, and
Yes.
that's generations that he saved, you know, and that's amazing. Is there anything about the donation process or the support you receive that you wish more people understood? I know you talked a little bit about that fear of donating.
Well, the one thing people need to know and understand, because I had the same fear myself, is just because it's on your driver's license does not mean that you will not get the proper services that you need at a hospital. Because there's a process. If someone goes into the hospital, they have to make sure they are organ donors. If they're not an organ donor, then they contact Tennessee Donor Services, contact the family. So it's not something that they just do right away. Is everything is done in consideration. So you don't have to be afraid to put it on your license. You don't have to be afraid to sign up. There's so much negativity surrounding it, and that's why I love to educate people, especially people in the Black community. Because I even said, I'm down with my organs. They're going with me. You know, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Even after my son passed away, I took it off my license because I made him a donor, but I wasn't educated. So once I became an ambassador and became educated, I put it back on my license, and so now I'm able to help other people understand the process.
Yeah. I mean, and that's honestly the education. We like to say that all the time here, knowledge is power.
Yes.
And that's a big thing that holds people back, is just not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing. I've heard people say they don't get the body back at all, you know, and then you don't get the closure, which is what? Like, where are these rumors
So
coming
my son
from?
donated all of his organs, and we still had an open casket.
Yes, and
Yes.
that's totally possible. So that's incredible.
Can we continue a little bit of what Lydia was saying about being a donor and that fear with it on the driver's license? Just talk a little bit about how the registry is set up. So today every state has its own donor registry, and most of them, like Tennessee, it's a legal form of consent for people who are 18 years of age or older. So it is a legal document making their wishes known. So we treat it like someone's last will and testament. We are obligated to honor that person's wishes. And we also, when we go out and talk to in the communities, we talk about how important it is to talk to your family so you know each other's wishes. But the donor registry is a database. We are the only agency that has access to see if someone has been a donor. So what happens if the hospital calls us and someone has passed away and they meet the criteria for organ donation, we'll send out a person to evaluate that patient. If they could be, then the first thing we do is check the registry, see if they have documented their decision. If they have not, then we have to ask the family to make that decision for them. Right now, 2/3 of our cases come from family consent because most people have not signed up on their state's registry. So again, that's why it's so important that we talk to our families, knowing each other's wishes and how we feel about subjects like this.
It's hard. I know it's hard to talk about
Yes.
death at all, especially with loved ones, even when it's natural, like your grandparents and stuff. It's just hard to have that conversation, but it is important. And there's a lot of resources around Chattanooga to help you get through that. I know there's some people down the street from us, even they have a company, and it's all dedicated to just helping people have that conversation. So it's very important. Dawn, why is having let's get back to we were talking a little bit about diversity. Why is it having that diverse pool of registered donors so important? Because I know we talked about there's not as many donors, but
Right.
is it blood type? Is it?
Yeah. So in the Black community, Blacks are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure, and that can lead to kidney failure. So it's very important that people realize that this is a great need in our minority communities. Transplant success rates improve when both the donor and the recipient come from the same ethnic background.
Okay.
So it's just a higher success rate for transplants. That doesn't mean that race is not considered when we're matching organs, but that's going to be a better match. You know.
I mean,
so.
I have, There's a term for that they look at called genomes, but I say the seasoning.
Okay.
Seasoned organs or seasoned people, okay? So, yeah.
Well, different countries and depending on the weather and stuff, different, things are
The
different.
scientific term would be genomes, etc.
Genomes.
I say seasonings.
And then we might mention too, we were talking about when a person is eligible to be a donor.
I was
they
just
must
about to
pass
ask you.
Yeah, and Adam's ahead of all of us. They must pass away in the hospital to be an organ donor.
Oh.
So if you pass away at home, you're not going to be able to. And just not to get into too much detail, but someone who is a potential organ donor would be brought into the hospital with some type of a traumatic head injury where they would be put on the ventilator. So any patient that's on a ventilator where they're not going to survive could be eligible. Now that's for organs, and we're not even probably going to have time to touch on tissue today, but tissue is a little bit different. We have a surplus of tissue in the United States because anyone who dies could potentially be a tissue donor. Yeah. So what we're talking about there is like the corneas, skin, bone, and close to 1 million people every year are going to receive a tissue transplant of some kind because they're used in everyday surgeries, like heart bypass surgery needs donor veins. So that's a subject for another day.
That's really interesting, though. I don't think I realized it went that deep into it. That's incredible. I love it. All right, so real quick, what's some simple steps people can take today to become registered donors? Let's get some websites and stuff.
Yes.
We'll put them on the screen.
Yes. You go to donatelifetn.org. That is the registry website. That also has information if people are looking for more information before they sign up. That website has it. It has a toll-free number that they can call us with questions, and we can help answer them and just guide them through that. But they simply sign up there, and it only takes about 3 minutes. 98% of the people who sign up to be a donor are actually going to do it at the driver's license office.
I think that, that's where I did it. I didn't know you could do it anywhere else, really.
And somebody had asked a question of us yesterday if those went to different places, but it is one registry, and you can either sign up at the driver's license office or you can sign up on donatelifetn.org. Also, MyChart, if you have doctors, hospitals, things like that, it has a place now where you can sign up to be an organ donor. It would go on the donor registry. And there is a national donor registry. I don't want to confuse people with all this, but there's a national donor registry. You could sign up on that, but the good thing about ours is it's connected to the national one. So if we look up someone on our registry, it also includes those Tennesseans who are on the national one, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
they're kind of combined.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on that a little bit with the national and going out of state, definitely. Adam, okay, before we leave, what would you say to our listeners to encourage them to get registered, and maybe something that we didn't talk on already that maybe you can dispel any rumors or something?
Encourage. You never know what life's going to bring your way. One day it may be you in need. So considering that you possibly may need an organ or a tissue, ask yourself, would you want it available to you?
Or your
And
children.
With that being said, why not make yours available? We had the health fair over the weekend, and someone told me point blank that all their organs were going to glory. I just smiled. I said, oh, okay. I thought the scripture said we were going to be renewed and transformed. So, I mean, I don't think those organs are going to make it, but they could go to work right here on this earth. Thank God the young lady, 44-year-old young lady, I'm 6'2". She was like 5'3", 5'2", somewhere in there. Her kidney fit me perfectly. So, and the age, people say, oh, I'm too old, or they don't want my organs, or they don't want my tissues because I got this, I got this, I got that. You don't know. You ain't going to nobody's medical school.
Yeah, but
you got
one organ might not be great. Okay, you might have been a smoker for 50 years. Yeah, they might not want your lungs, but that don't mean they don't want your kidneys or your eyes or any of the tissue.
And we have examples of
heart
that
valve.
from past donors.
Yeah, so it's fine.
But yeah,
Might as well try.
Donation works. Consider it, do it, think about it. You can't take them with you. Put them to use.
Yeah. All right. Well, since August is National Multicultural Donor Awareness Month, go out, get registered today. You can do it multiple ways, especially if you're getting a new driver's license soon, or you can go on the website. Let's say it one more time.
DonateLifeTN.org.
All right. Yes, Adam.
Speaking of the driver's license, guess what we're going to get hopefully this month? You know, we see all these beautiful little fancy plates, and y'all know them Tennessee blue plates are quite ugly. We've got the Donate Life Tennessee plate now, too.
Oh.
It's good looking. It's
Going
white
into
with
production
green
soon,
and blue. Yes.
and it should be available
White,
when you
green,
get your tags.
and
blue
blue.
blue and green. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And it complements cars where those blue ones really, really don't. So $37.
Which is a little bit more than a normal plate, but the extra money goes back in to the program. So it's definitely a full circle.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here and spreading the word and making sure that we get more Chattanoogan's on board so we can save more Chattanoogan lives.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.